I don't like the feel of vinyl on the back of my cell phone. So what I did was created an insert to go inside the back of my clear cell phone cover to make it look fun. It's a really easy process to be able to create these inserts, and I want to show you exactly how I did it. My name is Kelly Rossouw, and let's get clacking. In Cricut Design Space on a new canvas, we're going to start out with a shape that is going to roughly resemble the size of the insert that we're going to be working with. So I'm going to click on Shapes, and I'm going to add in the rounded square box to my canvas. Next, we need to change the size of this box to match, like I said, roughly the size of the back of our cell phone. So on my cell phone cover, I'm going to measure the flat part of the back of my cell phone on the actual cover itself. And that is 6.3 centimeters, or just under 2.5 inches on my cell phone. And the height of the cell phone is 15.1 centimeters, or just under 6 inches. Now, of course, these exact sizes will only work for my cell phone, so don't use these sizes for yours. Please measure your own cell phone so that it works for your phone. And then I'm going to change the size of my square to match the measurements that I've just gotten. So I'm going to click the Unlock Proportions button so that I can change both the width and the height independently. And the width that I mentioned was 6.3 centimeters. And the height was 15.1 centimeters. Now, the reason I used the rounded off squared object and not the square one is because it gives me these nice rounded corners which fit much easier into the case corners itself. Now, the next thing that we need to do is just remove the block from where the camera sits. So I'm going to measure that as well. And that comes across as 2.5 centimeters by 4 centimeters. So I'm going to add another rounded off square to my canvas and change it to match those sizes. You can also increase the size of this one just a little bit to make sure that you're going to have that right cut out size. I'm then going to hover it over the top corner of the actual insert where the camera space would be, and I'm going to zoom in so that I can see what I'm working with. I'm also just going to change the color so that you can see what I'm working with better as well. Now that I have roughly the right size, with the rounded off corner, I want to not have that little gap there and that little gap there. So I'm going to increase the size of this block so that it cuts off square at the edge and at the top as well. So you can see now that corner is straight as opposed to having a little bit that's going to come in. I'm then going to select both of them and slice. And you can see exactly where the old corner was sitting and where the new corner is. So I'm going to delete those sections as I don't need them anymore. And now we have the template for our acetate insert. If you like to change the decoration on your phone very often, I would recommend saving this as a template. And we're going to save it as phone insert template. And now I'm going to add a few elements to my canvas that I want to have on my phone insert. So it's almost Halloween, so I'm going to add some pumpkins. And once you have some designs that you like, you can add them to your canvas. And I'm going to resize them to make them easier to work with. I'm then going to set up my design the way that I want it. So I'm just going to rotate my pumpkins, make some bigger, make some smaller, and just have fun with my design. Once I'm done designing my little pumpkins, I'm going to right-click and duplicate the actual phone insert section that I have. I'm going to highlight that, right-click, and attach everything so that it all cuts out in that same location and also cuts out the phone insert template just to be safe. I'm then going to take the phone insert template, duplicate it again, and then maybe write something fun over the top so I can have like boo written over the top. So I'm going to go to images and search for boo. And I'm going to add some of my options to my canvas. I'm going to resize them and remove the one that I feel no longer works as nicely. And I'm going to resize this design to fit onto my phone. This little ghost, I want it to appear white, but I want the boo to be black. So I'm going to use the contour feature to change how this design looks a little bit. I'm going to click contour, and I'm going to remove the biggest ghost so that it inverts the color. Because it's now no longer a solid line, the ghost is going to be solid itself. I'm also going to remove the bigger outside line of the speech bubble, as well as removing the boo. So now it's a white looking ghost with just a plain speech bubble. I'm going to change the color to white so that we can more easily see what we're working with. And I want to put the boo back there, but like I said, I want to do it in black vinyl. So I'm going to right click, duplicate, and just get it back so that there's just the boo on the speech bubble. So I'm going to hit contour again, hide all contours, and then I'm going to add in the boo. And not forgetting to remove the outline of the ghost. So now we can see we just have the letters boo, and that one I'm going to change the color from white to black. So when we're done, that's roughly what it's going to look like. I do want to increase the size a little bit, and I'm also going to change this color from gray to black. I don't like keeping it as black because you can't see the cut lines. Cricut Design Space should actually change the color of the visible lines from something that is black, maybe change them to white or a light gray so that you can see what is designed there. But just for the purpose of cutting the design, we're just going to change it to black so that we know that it cuts on the black mat. I'm then going to hide the other phone insert template. I'm going to leave 2 of the phone insert templates up because we need to cut these out of acetate, and these 2 layers are going to be cut out of vinyl. So we're going to be cutting 4 different things, and before we cut, we need to save our project. So I'm going to save and just save again. And when you come to do your Christmas project, you can then just hide the Halloween things and start up a new Christmas one. So I'm going to hit make it, and then optimize the space on my mat a little bit by rotating things and just making sure that everything cuts out accurately. Move the boo inside that little section there. And you can see how this is going to cut out of the black vinyl, and you can see all the outlines of your cut there. I'm then going to click continue and select premium vinyl permanent glossy, as we're going to start with the vinyl layers first. And when you get to the gray layer, make sure to change your material setting to acetate, as the acetate has a completely different setting. I'm going to use my green standard grip mat for all 3 of these materials, making sure to use my brayer to ensure that everything is stuck down well to my mat. I'm then going to load and cut each one of the materials at a time, and then when we're done, we can assemble everything all together and see what our project looks like. Now that everything has been cut, we can remove our vinyl from the mat and pop out our pieces of acetate. Now, when working with the acetate, we need to remember that there is usually a clear film over the acetate, so you need to make sure to take that off before putting your vinyl stickers on. Just a little tip. If you're finding this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It helps to show your appreciation and also for me to know that you like this kind of content and to keep making more of it in the future. Thank you so much. I appreciate it more than you know. I am going to just trim down this piece of vinyl so that I can use the rest. And I'm going to take my weeding tool and dig in the corner of the vinyl, hold down the backing sheet and pull the vinyl back. I'm then going to weed out the little areas. I find that it's a lot easier to see the areas that you need to weed if you kind of just move the vinyl a little bit and catch the light in a specific way. And I'm going to start off by weeding the outside of this section first, making sure to keep the phone insert section down. And then I'm going to weed the inside of the letters of the word boo. And I want to make sure to do this first, because when I transfer pumpkins off this, that needs to not be there. So I'm going to just use a corner of transfer tape and lift off the word boo. And I like to always flip the vinyl over and peel the backing off the transfer tape, as it is a lot easier to work with. And I'm then going to place the boo on the speech bubble. I'm going to squeegee out any bubbles, but that looks pretty good. And now I'm going to weed off the insides of all the pumpkins. So the eyes, the mouth, the little pieces that I need to get out. And now that that's all done, I'm going to lift up the corner of the background and peel back the background to reveal all of our beautiful little pumpkins. And now we use our transfer tape to transfer our design from the backing onto our acetate sheet. So we take our squeegee and we make sure that the transfer tape is stuck down properly onto the vinyl, flip our vinyl over and peel back the backing of the vinyl from the transfer tape. We then take our acetate sheet, position our vinyl over the acetate sheet. We can kind of see it underneath, and make sure that the vinyl is not going to go on the edges. There we go. Squeegee out any of the bubbles. There are inevitably going to be bubbles underneath, but it shouldn't really affect the design too much. And then we do the next one, which is a little bit trickier. So we're going to place the transfer tape down. Make sure it covers the whole design. Squeegee out any bubbles. Flip our vinyl over. And once again, remove the backing from the vinyl. Now this one is a lot trickier because the room for error is a lot smaller. So this is where I like to use silicone paper to help me with this a little bit. So I'm going to take my silicone paper, cover most of the design, flip it over and layer it on top of the acetate sheet. Now what you need to do is you need to line this up as well as you can, and if you're worried about having not very much room for error, then what you can do is make the design a little bit smaller so that it's easier to fit on the actual acetate. Once you have it all lined up, and you should be able to tell by figuring out where the end of the acetate is, I'm going to press this top down there, and I've left a little bit exposed at the top just to make sure that it will actually stick down. And I'm going to press the transfer tape down onto the table as well so that neither of these elements move. So I'm going to hold that down very tightly, lift up the transfer tape, remove the silicone sheet, and very carefully squeegee the vinyl onto the acetate. And you'll see I'm doing this at an angle to try and get out as many of the bubbles as possible. I'm going to lift this up off the table and peel the transfer tape back. And I'm absolutely going to be saving this piece of transfer tape for another project. Now our pumpkins are done, and if we see the little ghost on top of the pumpkins, you can see right through both of them, and it looks super cute. So all we need to do is pop off the phone cover, take out the old sheets of acetate, pop on the new ones, line them up nicely, Super fun, easily interchangeable decor for our cell phones that we can make at the drop of a hat. But if you want to know how to put vinyl onto cardstock, this video will take you through the entire process. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to subscribe for more Cricut videos in the future, and remember, be kind to someone today. See you soon.